Want to welcome you to the next episode of the Brains Magazine podcast. And today we have Linda Schneider. Linda is a curandera. She's also a teacher and a mentor for conscious human development. It's great to have you on today's show, Linda.
Thank you, Mark. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, and obviously you're in Switzerland, and I know that even like before we get into the nitty gritty of this podcast, I was there in the summer. Beautiful country that you have. You're so blessed to be there.
Mm. Yes, I am. And we have beautiful mountains.
Yeah, I got a lot of pleasure out of those mountains, I must admit. And I know that you saw those as well. It's such a beautiful place to be in nature. And I always find that it's often in nature where we really get to really breathe and think.
Same, Mark. I hear you.
So let's dive in. I think that I don't often hear the word curandera a lot, if ever. I think you're the first one. I'm sure there's more than just one curandera. I think it would be great for you to describe your work, what that really looks like as both a curandera and a teacher.
My focus is on helping people reconnect with themselves through their body, their inner knowing, and their capacity to trust what they feel. When the connection is there, people feel at peace inside. And they're like less pulled in different directions, constantly questioning themselves or pushing against what they feel, and more present with what's actually happening within them.
Mm.
What matters most to me in my work is that it stays practical and embodied, because when the connection to inner knowing is restored, fulfillment grows naturally out of everyday life.
I think that being present and knowing self is really what we should all be going for in 2026. Um, I, I think 2025 definitely taught me that we're in very little control of anything. And the only thing that we can really master and move is ourself and the way that we respond to things. And this is a big part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's everything.
Now you've created this 7 keys, which is now probably your client critical offering that you give people to really unlock them. I would love to know like what inspired you to create the 7 keys, and also who does it really support? Who's it great for?
The 7 keys grew out of many, many years of working closely with clients. And over time, I started noticing a common pattern. Like, a lot of people are very intelligent and capable, and they function well in daily life, but they still feel disconnected and fragmented inside. That's when I realized that I want to create something a lot of people have access to help them change their life. Because it's not enjoyable to live that way, but it's very beautiful to see when people have a fulfilled life. So we designed this course for those that can feel that something essential is missing. It is for those who feel a pull to want to reconnect to themselves and live from a place that is true and feel alive again.
I think that it's really beautiful that you've been able to look over historically those points of contention and pain and struggle. And I've identified that these 7 keys are a representation of some of that historical conversation that you've had with clients, and now are therefore able to use this modality as a way of really harnessing and clarifying and helping people really understand themselves and move them forward. Is that pretty much where it's at?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
I'd love to know, can you share like maybe a key transformation that you've experienced with a client that's actually gone through the 7 keys?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think one of the biggest changes people notice is that they start to feel at peace inside. Many come into the work feeling very insecure, constantly checking and looking for answers or reassurance outside of themselves. That's a very common thing. As they move through the keys, their patterns begins to change. And they stop relying so much on external confirmation and start trusting what they feel and know. They start to sense a feeling of coming home. That's what they tell me. And that's beautiful. People also tell me they don't have to push so hard anymore or hold everything together mentally, because this is a huge source of stress. They begin to experience deep joy in their daily life. And that's just wonderful.
Linda, one thing that I've really noticed that is that people feel energetically stuck. How does your work help them return to that balance, find their way through?
Hmm. What I see is that people are living ahead of themselves. They're constantly anticipating, reacting, overthinking, processing life mentally instead of actually being in it. And that creates the inner tension and disconnection and the energetical blockages. I support them by showing them how they can come back into the now. And when attention returns to their body and to what is present, balance restores itself naturally. And people can sense clearly what feels right for them and what doesn't. And that's where true healing and energy flow begins.
And as we enter like 2026, we're fresh in it, we're in January. Maybe what key themes or energies, Linda, are you really feeling are important for people to be aware of right now?
That's a great question, Mark. Thank you for that one. What feels especially important right now is staying connected to oneself. There's a very strong pull externally toward fear. Fear about the future, about stability, about the state of the world. And people are constantly being invited to react, to worry, or to brace themselves. But at the same time, there is an internal invitation to slow down and to trust inner guidance instead of fear. The capacity to pause, to take a breath and choose how to meet what's happening instead of reacting impulsively is absolutely essential in this time.
What is one of the practices from the 7 keys which you think would be really helpful when it comes to clarity? Because that's a big part of what we've been talking about, really, is really understanding self, unlocking ourselves, that we should really start in 2026. Is there a good one? There's probably many.
Yes, you're right. There is many. But one core practice is called returning to the center. And I mention the center a lot because it's actually the most important place inside of us, because that's where our inner home is. I recommend to do this practice before making decisions or taking an important step. So the practice goes like this, and I invite everyone to try it right now. So close your eyes and listen to my voice. Notice where your attention is. If you realize you're caught in your head, planning, worrying, or overthinking, gently bring your attention down into your body. Place your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and feel it in your belly. Feel the natural weight of your body and how comforting it is. Stay there for a few deep breaths and notice the connection between your belly and your heart. From that centered place, your next step is going to be a wise one. We can come back now.
Beautiful.
You feel a difference, Mark?
Oh yeah. I think the pause is so important. You know, when we pause and we have that moment of shifting from our mind into our body, it becomes a practice, and obviously that's something that you'd probably suggest we do daily. Is that right? Something that becomes a part of our ritual. So,
Absolutely. You can't do it too much
yeah.
because your energetic body learns that the center is supposed to be in your belly and not in your head. And that's a big issue.
Now life's crazy, and there's so much noise, so much distraction. How can we stay grounded and connected to that inner wisdom? Because we talked about, obviously, if you lose yourself, if you have had mistrust, it takes time to bring it back to your intuition. What are some of the ways we can really stay grounded and connected to that inner wisdom that we have within us?
I get that question a lot. Um, when someone is centered, their timing, decisions, and responses come from a deeper place rather than from tension or insecurity. So, what helps the most is learning to live from a place inside that remains steady, even or especially when life gets difficult or intense. Now, this kind of inner steadiness can be learned and practiced over time, but there is no quick fix. It's about working through patterns, through belief systems and inner wounds, and finding back to themselves so they can stand tall in life and live in a fulfilled way. But that takes time and a lot of patience.
For listeners who feel called to explore your teachings, want to go deeper and further, what would you like them to know about the seven keys?
Hmm. I would like to say, just do it. But there's more. The seven keys is a space to slow down and to listen honestly to yourself and to reconnect with what feels true to you. But it's also not a quick fix. It's gentle but deep work with lasting results. It supports you in coming back to yourself. I repeat myself, but it's the most important thing. In a way that is grounded and practical and real. It offers you a way to build a stable inner ground so you can live from a sense of deep joy and inner guidance that is reliable.
Do you have a favorite? I think, the seven keys is there one particular that you really like, or is that like asking you to pick your favorite child?
I never asked that, question to myself. No, not really, because all of the seven are equally important and they are interconnected. And I really can't pick a favorite one. I like the feeling at the end of the course when all of the seven are activated and integrated. That's actually a really great feeling.
Would you say then, Linda, if you were to remove one of the keys, then it wouldn't work?
No, mm-mm. Because I think that's one of the key aspects of my work is that I combine all of the aspects of a human being, all of the levels, because that what makes healing last. If you leave one of them out, eventually you're just gonna fall back into some patterns you don't want.
So they really are like, it's like an ecosystem, or plumbing. You remove one of the parts and you get a leak.
That's a perfect way to put it, actually. Thank you. I'll keep that
You can. I
for
mean,
when next time someone asks me. That's a very good answer, Mark, really.
I think for me, it's very much about. I mean, I like to explain through things that we all experience on a daily practice, right? And regardless of the country we're from, the language we speak, we all like wash our hands. So for me, it's something very. It's like driving, putting on a seatbelt. Like there's certain things that we are familiar with, brushing our teeth. We all do that, or we hopefully we all we all do that.
Yeah. No, actually, that's something people can relate to. So that's a very good way of teaching, too. Hmm.
Good. I think we've got a few moments left, so I kind of want to create a little bit of space because the whole premise of you as a current Dira and a teacher is you very much are in that space of using your intuition, going into your body. And obviously, we've done that great example and role model. But I would like to give you a few minutes to maybe just share anything that you feel we need to hear right now as an expression and something to really leave us with as we bring this into an end.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that extra space. Um, I want to say that to everyone listening directly. You don't need saving. What you need is remembering. And if you feel confused or tired or disconnected, I want you to know this. There is nothing essential in you missing. Everything you're looking for is already there. And it's waiting for your attention and your honesty and your presence. There is a lot of miracles out there waiting for you. And the miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love. Mm. Yeah, that's it in the essence.
I also think that the delivery of that which you say is really important. I know for me that tone is something that very much has an impact on me.
Mm.
I think the way that you also share, Linda, is a big part of the work that you do because you have this calming, grounded energy. And when we're talking about being grounded, having clarity, being clear, I think it also needs to match the energy in which it's being conveyed.
Oh, yes. You just mentioned something very important. It is known that 70% of the so-called success rate with clients depends on the relationship between the client and the therapist or teacher or healer. And that's a lot. And I deeply believe that I have to live what I preach. And if I wouldn't, people wouldn't trust me and they wouldn't feel safe enough to open up. So, yes, my energy and being authentic is the most important thing.
How do people find out more about you and your work and these 7 keys?
Mm, the easiest way is over my website. That's where the 7 keys is available and where people can explore my work and book sessions or see what else is unfolding. Yeah.
been great to have you on this episode of the Brains Magazine podcast, Linda. I really enjoyed hearing about you and the 7 keys and the great transformational and healing work that you do through this. I'm so glad that you've created this so that people in this world can actually benefit, find themselves, trust themselves again, and really move forward.
Thank you so much, Mark. I enjoyed our talk a lot.
Me too.